Hello boys and girls, today we're going to work on our value landscape. Maybe you've already drawn your landscape. I have not, so I'm going to go ahead and think about what kind of mountains I'm going to have. I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm thinking that maybe 6 areas of color might be a good idea. So there's 2. 3. This one's going to be a little tricky. This is 4 and 5. So here we go. 6. Now I see it looks like I've got paint on my finger, so I got paint on my paper. Not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and get started on my project. First thing I'm going to do is grab my paint. You are going to get white, and you are going to get to choose your color. I chose purple for my landscape. I want to make sure my brush is clean. So if it starts mixing with white paint and it's not clean, make sure you get a clean brush. So I've loaded up my brush with white paint. Looks pretty clean so far. So just with the white paint, I'm going to paint the background. Now this purple brush is actually very good at doing edges. So if you hold your brush clear to the edge of the page, you will be able to get a nice clean edge. If you're having trouble doing that, just ask me. I'll come over and show you how to get that purple brush to paint nice and clean along your edges. I'm going to get this painted white. Try to smooth out the paint when you can. Kind of want it kind of smooth. No paint puddles. Paint puddles are going to be difficult to dry, and we're going to try to get this painting done in one day. Alright, so the background is white. Now I need to mix my next color. So I'm going to take that white paint. I'm actually going to touch the very, very corner of my purple paint. I barely got any on my brush, but that is enough to turn my white paint a different color. And if it's not as dark as I want, just do just the corner and mix it again. Just the corner and mix it again. So now I can tell that my white paint is not white anymore. It might be hard to see in the camera, but I will surely be able to see it on my paper. Okay, that white paint is now a very, very light purple. So I'm going to paint my next layer carefully with that purple brush because it does such a good job with the edges. I'm going to follow along, getting as close to my pencil marks as I can. It certainly doesn't have to be perfect, but this brush actually makes it very easy to do your edges. Okay, now I'm going to work on finishing this purple, and then I'll be ready to go a little darker. And I like to paint off the page, so make sure you don't leave anything bare. So go clear off the page. Smooth out the paint where you can. And I know I paint quickly. You certainly don't have to paint quickly. It's just that I do it all the time. Alright, I need to go a little bit darker. So I'm going to grab my paint again. I'm going to add a little bit more and mix it. And I can see that it is already darker than the one I just painted. So I'll make sure I mix up enough paint, because sometimes you can run your brush dry and it doesn't like to be dry. So just be brave and mix up a nice big bunch of paint. Now it looks like it's going to be this area and this area for the next color. So I'm going to let my purple brush do all the work. And I'm also going to let that purple brush help me smooth and paint right next to the edge. Just like that. And do you remember that little blue spot? It's gone. So I guess I learned I need to wash my hands between projects. at that area, I'm going to go over here and paint this area. So remember that value is the lightness and the darkness of a color. And we started with the very lightest, and we're going to get to the darkest. Alright, now it's time to mix some more paint. I'm going to get a little braver, and I'm actually going to scoop up a big bunch of purple. And I'm going to scoop it up so that I can get it even darker than it was before. And if I'm not sure, one of the things I can do is put that paint right next to it. If it looks darker, then it's ready. So this next layer is going to be even darker. I'll use that purple brush to make that next layer right next to the other layer. And I'll smooth that paint out. But I'll still use the edge of my brush to make sure it's nice and clean. This project is pretty easy and pretty fun. Now what I'll have to do is think about the next color. The next color is going to be even darker. So I'll have to add more purple to the next color to make it even darker. So this time, since I already have white on my brush, I'm going to jump right into that purple. That way I know it's darker, but I know it's not purple because there's white on my brush. And I can just check it on my paper to see if it is darker. Use the edge of my purple brush to follow along. And it's okay if it's not perfect, we just don't want any white spots. So this is a project that you can finish in one day. But I want to do this next layer because I want to show you what happens at the very, very bottom. Because the very bottom is just as important. I know I paint fast, but it's just what I do. And this purple brush does amazing edges. Alright, so I'm ready for the darkest layer of them all. Now remember, this brush still had white paint on it, so it's really not a true purple right here. So I'm going to get rid of this brush, and I'm actually going to grab a brand new brush. There's no paint on it, and I'm going to use only the purple. So there should be no white touching this last part of my painting, so that I know it's the darkest color available at this time. So it is a clean brush and straight purple paint. See how it looks darker? It's because there's absolutely no white on my paintbrush. So I'll finish this up kind of quickly, and I actually have another example to show you, but this is just a quick demonstration of what we're going to do in class. You'll get to pick your color. I think we'll have green, and I think we'll have purple, and I think we will have blue. Alright, so there it is. Kind of quick. I know there's some brush marks, but there is a Value Landscaping in purple. And actually, here's another Value Landscaping in blue. Alright, artists, let's have some fun.